Well, you get that exciting feeling when you first hear about it. You think, oh man, you sign up, and then the reality comes. Like, oh man, I've got to train. And then as months progress, it gets closer. Maybe that anxiety starts building. What did you guys do to train? When did you, from when you first signed up? Brian didn't have quite as much time to prepare, know that he was going to do it. Maybe that could be a good thing. You'll have a few months, so you're not thinking about it the whole year. But most everybody, you sign up a year before, and you have that whole year to think about it and prepare. What did you guys do after you signed up? What was your game plan to get ready for the Ironman?
That was part of the frustrating part, I think. Any one of those events by themselves is monumental just to train for a 2.4 mile swim or a 112 mile bike. I had done a couple of century rides, and I feel more hammered after a century ride than I do after a marathon. And I couldn't even imagine hopping off a bike after 112 miles and trying to do a marathon. And I think it was Christmas or my birthday, one of the two. One of my sons gave me a book on training for an Ironman, and I
Christmas before you signed up, or Christmas after you signed up?
No, it was like Christmas of 2009 after I'd signed up. And I'd skimmed through that and just chucked it because I don't have the time to do that. And so I know there's a lot of schedules out there, and
but you're already a pretty in shape guy, though.
I try keeping in somewhat shape year round, kind of, but Ironman's totally different. The whole three-sport thing is just extremely challenging. And the schedules I know do work, and the book and magazines that give you workouts and things like that. It's the same with preparing for a marathon, but I just had to do what I could, what time allowed. And things were going pretty good, and up through February I was feeling pretty good in my training, and then got a new church assignment that kind of took time away from me, and my wife was kind of giving hints too that she would like to see me once in a while. So I think it's you hear a lot of that it's time consuming and hard on the family, and that's why one of the first things people think is their family for the support in it.
So you'd suggest if you sign up, make sure you have enough time allocated to be prepared for getting ready for this kind of event.
And hopefully have a little bit of experience to where you know what it's like to run 26 miles, or you know what it's like to bike over 100 miles.
Yeah.
In the participants program that they gave us when we went and registered, it showed, and these were average figures for Ironman athlete, not the pros or anything, just an average Ironman. And it said in 1 week leading up to that, an average Ironman participant swims 7 miles and bikes 245 per week. These are weekly distances.
Yeah, for me, I probably could be an inspiration for a lot of people, because I'm not only working, supporting this family of 6, I'm also going to school. And
how do you find the time to train? That's amazing.
And I am
sleeping.
That's overrated.
I am doing quite well at school. I'm keeping up on all the classes. So 4.0.
That is great. That
wow.
Is great.
And so for me, my training usually consists of making it to the pool for an hour 3 times a week.
Okay.
And then training at night. You know, when everybody else all the stuff is done.
Yeah. So after the kids go to bed.
Which is kind of dangerous, but I do it. And during the winter time, it was exceptionally hard, so I would use the gym. I would go do a spin class or hit the treadmill and the weights or whatever. But
do you feel like you benefit in a spin class similar to out on the road biking?
The spin class is essential, a part of the cycling, because it teaches you a little bit more about you're not concentrating on safety because you're already safe.
Yeah.
So you're concentrating more on your cadence and how much you can put into it. And you can also do intervals.
Yeah.
Break it up that way, make it more interesting.
And it also kind of gets you out of the saddle sometimes and pushes you with the intensity and stuff.
Yeah, and so you feel like if you strap in properly and have everything set where you're normally fit to the bike, you can actually push yourself a little bit harder.
Yeah.
And I find that it really was a benefit as far as building the strength levels.
Yeah, definitely. So if you were to go back as you've done the Ironman and looking back, is there anything you've done different with your training, or do you think you had it pretty well done?
Oh yeah, until the Ironman came along, I was just doing 3 miles. It was the most I'd ever run. 3 miles at a time.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
And I was still breaking records at that.
You're still.
You know. So my friends are always teasing me about
knowing how fast you run, Lindsey, and then knowing that, because I didn't know that kind of bothers me.
I know. It bothers a lot of people.
You only run 3 miles, 3-mile workouts, and you run as fast as you do.
Yeah. My secret is my work. I'm a tile contractor.
Yeah, and you cycle quite a bit though too.
Yeah, that's true. I've been a cyclist out of high school. Tennis player and a cyclist. Yeah. So and in those days when I competed in cycling, it was against the older group. The state. People in Salt Lake.
Yeah, exactly.
So there was nobody around here that could keep up.
So what would you do different looking back? Is there anything?
No, I don't think so, because
you did so well.
I wasn't able to overtrain, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that was a benefit there. But yeah, I think if you really get excited about it, you could probably put too many miles in if you're not prepared enough.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people come in the store, they're at the peak of, everybody's training. And it seemed like, I had a lot of people look like they're getting colds, their immune system was starting to get affected because they're of overtraining and stuff. So you got to find that balance, whatever that is for, you individually. That's important for sure.
Yeah.
What about you, Brian? So when did you find out you were going to get in again?
Exactly 100 days before.
100 days.
100 days.
So you knew 100 days before. I mean, obviously you've been training. You trained before. I mean, so you're in decent shape. But once that 100 days started, I remember you coming into the store and us talking about it.
After I got off the cloud that it was floating.
Yeah, you're kind of floating. I really noticed a difference. You dropped a little bit of weight. You started toning up a little bit more.
Yeah, I got more lean and everything else. I really had to ramp up my running and my swimming. Really take it to a whole new level. And that's where, if I was going to give anyone advice, especially with our marathon course, I heard it time and time and time again from every single competitor. This is the hardest marathon course in the world. That's where I am going to focus a lot more of my training and my attention is to my run. But the one side that really was so beneficial to me, because I had such an incredible difficulty in the water, because that's one thing I definitely need to work on too, is being a stronger swimmer. But I was in the water a little bit too long, suffered from hypothermia. That's when the mental aspect had to come into play. We all talk about the physical aspect. Yeah. But you've got to be so mentally prepared for this event that your mind, you cannot be 100% focused when you're out there for 10, 12, 14, 16 hours. The mind's going to start wandering eventually. So you've got to be really mentally prepared, and you've got to battle through some pain. You're going to battle through some adversity, and you've got to have that mental toughness. Build that along with the physical attributes. And you were saying about nutrition. I would have bonked. Guaranteed I would have bombed if it wasn't for a pro that I had the opportunity to sit down and meet with on 2 different occasions, Matt Lieto. Props to Matt. He really was awesome. He was here 2 weeks before Ironman training. Unfortunately, he got a flu virus Tuesday before Ironman. He had to pull out of the competition. He was just vomiting. He was sick. But he taught me a lot about nutrition and told me exactly what to do. And I incorporated that into my training the first time he told me 2 weeks before the event, and went on a 70-mile ride. I felt just as refreshed when I got back from that 70-mile ride as when I started. And it was absolutely 100% directly related to the nutrition.
Yeah, it's incredible.
You can go too little, you can go too much. And he told me exactly, we haven't got an hour to explain it all, but he told me exactly how to do it.
We can do a whole nother
segment just on nutrition. But this guy was just a wealth of knowledge, and he was so willing to give up this knowledge and information that he's worked so hard. Yeah. He and his brother work at, they have their own nutrition company, so they know, they've got these.
They've done the research. They know exactly what's going on.
They know exactly what to do, and he shared this knowledge with us, and it was so beneficial, and I had no ill effects on the bike whatsoever, and I carried it over to the run. But you can't eat so much on the run. You're just pumping in those goos. You're just sick and tired of goo by the end of the day. You don't want to see another gel packet for a month. But if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have completed Ironman. I would have bombed 70, 80 miles into the bike.
Yeah.
I would have been under nutrition, had not had enough nutrition.
Yeah.